What's up, guys? Hope your Saturday went well. As we look ahead towards the overnight, we have showers and storms that are set to move in. We had a couple of showers today. Nothing really took off this afternoon, thank goodness. The atmosphere is still very unstable, and there's more storms that are out there. So, what I wanted to show you is what's happening now. A look at the model data of what's going to happen tonight, and then a look at what happens tomorrow, and also a look at the storm reports that have been reported today. So far, 21 reports of tornadoes. Doesn't mean there were 21 tornadoes, just 21 reports received from the Storm Prediction Center. So first things first, big picture, what's going on? This is a look at the satellite and radar. You can see that line of showers and storms that's out there. This is moving towards the east, and eventually this is going to be a big line that forms right through here and pretty much right in this area. And this is going to form a line that starts to move eastward and gets here late tonight. How late? Probably pretty late. Probably closer to about 3, 4 in the morning in Bentonville and Rogers, and probably closer to perhaps even as late as 5 and 6 in the morning in Fort Smith by the time some of these storms finally make their way on into the area. So those will be moving in west to east. You can see them here now. Tornado warnings in effect out around Norman, Oklahoma, out towards Moore. That seems par for the course for that area. And you have additional storms, some supercells that are forming around Ardmore. These are moving up towards the northeast too, in Wichita Falls. You can see that line though. So this line all comes together and will move east later on tonight. Looks like some tornado warnings here northwest of Joplin too, in southeast Kansas that are tracking to the northeast. Another tornado warning just to the southeast of Kansas City, moving towards Jefferson City. Really active today. A big severe weather day for us in the Central Plains, and a pretty active 24 hours coming up for all of us too. Another look at radar gives us an idea of what's been happening here. This is a look at about the last hour or so. That's all ground clutter. So the radar beam at night, when temperatures cool at the surface, will refract or bend back down, and you get these little blooms here of ground clutter. A lot of that's humidity and bugs. But if you look to the west, you can see these storms that are out there, some stronger storms around Durant, Ardmore. These are the ones that we just saw a moment ago on the regional view, but you can see the supercellular structure to some of these, which indicates some rotation as well as some large hail that's out there. So what's going to happen overnight is you actually have a stream of air that forms above the surface. We call it the low-level jet stream. It's about 8,000 feet up above our heads. It forms during the overnight hours and reaches a peak in the middle of the night, about 3 or 4. That's going to fuel these storms, and so we should see an uptick in both the severity and the coverage heading into the overnight hours after midnight tonight and into the first part of the day. So I wanted to talk about those storm reports, and then we're going to look at the model data of how this shakes out. These were the storm reports today. The tornado reports were pretty big out around parts of Missouri. Also had them back into Kansas and into Oklahoma. A lot of hail reports as well as some damaging winds. Wind reports about 15, 84 hail reports though received from the Storm Prediction Center from today's storms, and these are still ongoing. So let's look at what's next, right? All right, so we have 2 waves of storms that are out there. So this is what's out there now. These are the storms that we just looked at, the ones that are out here in central Oklahoma. So this is where we are now. Here's where we're headed for the overnight. So moving into the overnight hours, you can see that line of storms bending northeast. Now, keep in mind, we are still under a risk area here in Benton County, and these storms are going to be tracking in late tonight. This is actually that's 3 in the morning by the time they get in here. So we'll experience the storms first, likely in Bella Vista, in Pea Ridge, in Siloam Springs, in Bentonville, and in Rogers. And then we get those storms in Fayetteville. Look how it bends to the southwest, though. It's going to be later by the time it gets into Fort Smith. Probably closer to about 5, 6 in the morning when that line starts to move on through. Now I'm going to zoom out for you to show you the line, but also show you, so here it comes. Right? So damaging winds, I think on the leading edge, there'll be that potential for some spin-up tornadoes that we'll need to keep an eye on. This whole thing moves through, but watch this. It moves through and you're like, oh, it's gone, right? No. So these are the storms in Oklahoma moving in overnight into the first part of the day. Watch this, though. Here comes the dry line and the cold front tomorrow afternoon. More storms blow up. These are going to be in the afternoon, probably after about 3 or 4. These will also be severe when they move through. So we have the storms that are out there now. They move through sunrise, the first part of the day. We have additional development in the afternoon and evening, and then finally that line moves east, and then we should start to dry out after that. But we only have a couple of days of drying out. I think we're back seeing severe weather by the time Wednesday and Thursday roll around next week. Now, thankfully, the magnitude of that system doesn't look nearly as strong as the one that's moving through now. So what can you expect tonight? Well, kids may crawl in the bed sometime after midnight tonight. In the middle of the night, dogs may get a little crazy. It's going to be rough and tumble and pretty loud sometime in the overnight hours, probably closer to sunrise in Fort Smith, probably closer to 3 or 4 in northwest Arkansas as it moves through. And then we get a break sometime mid morning, and then here we go again in the afternoon as the whole system moves east with those storms severe as well. Will the morning storms limit the afternoon severity? It's possible. It did on Friday. We didn't have much that was out there. The morning round suppressed the atmosphere and made it a little cool at the surface. Storms hate cool air at the surface. They need that warm air to rise. And boy, we had it today. Thankfully, no big storms took off locally in our area, although some of you saw a little bit of raindrops here and there, especially out around Clarksville, up north of Ozark, getting into the foothills of the Ozarks. That's what I'm keeping an eye on for you. We'll see how it plays out through the overnight and into the first part of the day tomorrow.